going to talk the end of the year, repositioning assets, tax advantages, all the things on Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Welcome into the show. I've got Mr. Gove. How are you, Mr. Gove?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Looking good there. Now, usually you're in the Kearney office, and I have you in Lincoln. So, of course, Tim Kulhonik thinks that's the better studio.
Yeah, I'm making do. It's a challenge, but
well, looking good and sounding good there.
Thank you.
Sure. Some of the things that we talk about on the regular include tax, positioning.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought we could talk a little bit more about that in terms of what's happening here for the end of the year for the average pre-retiree or retiree. Because there's still some smart moves to make, right? Some strategy.
Yeah, now is the time to do it because, a lot of these strategies, we want to wait till the end of the year because we want to know what your income was. We don't want to guess and think, well, this is probably what I'll make this year, or this is probably what I'll take out of my IRA. We want to be able to look back and see, okay, what did I actually take out? How much did I actually make this year? And then we can make really, really good educated decisions. Whether it's doing Roth conversions or, shifting a portfolio that maybe is spinning off income that you don't need, that you're going to pay tax on, CD income, things like that. There's a lot of different things that you can do, but those really need to be done at the end of the year.
All right. So I'm curious about your clients. Do you make appointments with them to review these things with you?
Yep. Yeah, we do. Earlier in the year, we're looking at, okay, what is your required distribution? Once you hit a certain age, whether that's, if you're already at that age, but could be, for some of you, it could be 73. For others, it could be 75, depending on when you were born. You have to start taking money out of your IRAs. So, or 401ks, any tax deferred asset, we have to start taking money out of those. So we want to have a plan for that at the beginning of the year. That doesn't mean we necessarily take the money out at the beginning of the year, but we want to have a plan for that. So if you've got to take out, let's say it was $20,000 over the year, we want to have a plan, whether that's, okay, maybe you need that $20,000 to live on. So that's fine. Well, we take it out on a monthly basis, or, this is money I don't need. I could leave it to charity. I could do a qualified charitable distribution. If you're giving any money to charity out of your pocket, you should be doing qualified charitable distributions. So that's giving the money directly from your IRA to the charity. It does satisfy that required distribution, but you don't have to pay tax on it that way. So that's something that we look at. For some people, it's they use their required distribution for Christmas gifts for their family. So we do that later in the year. For some, like in Kearney, the community foundation they do, it's called Give Where You Live. And I think that's in November to December. So it should be going on, I think, right now. But they'll wait to do their qualified charitable distributions until then, because then you get to leverage that a little bit because the foundation doesn't match on top of what you give. You still get to determine what charity you want to give it to. You just give it through the foundation.
Nice.
That's another thing that people do.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
The cautionary tale there, Jeff Gove, would be to, of course, file the paperwork so that RMD doesn't come to your checking account. Then you give it to the foundation.
Yeah, that's true. And then also following up on your tax return to make sure that it was filed as a qualified charitable distribution, because I've seen some where they gave it to a charity and it went directly to the charity. You still get a 1099 for that distribution, but it might say taxable amount is undetermined. So then the CPA may just put it on there as taxable. Oh. So you have to file that as a qualified charitable distribution in order to get credit for that.
Okay, so it takes a little bit of legwork, but it's not the worst thing.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
It helps to be working with a professional. So this is all part of the plan and part of the yearly review or quarterly review. And you can reach Stonebridge Wealth Systems, whether you want to see the Lincoln offices or the studios in Kearney or the Kearney office. Also in Grand Island and Omaha, of course, 866-295-5146. But Stonebridge has clients all over the United States, and of course, happy to serve anyone in the Midwest. 866-295-5146. So are people still sitting on losing stocks, do you think, at this point in the year?
Yeah, I mean, that's something definitely to look at if you've got, it's called tax loss harvesting. So if you've got gains that you need to offset, or you want to increase your basis on stocks that have gone up, you can, sell some of the ones that have lost and realize those losses. At least if you're going to lose money, at least get a tax benefit for it. But that's something that you could definitely do. The bigger thing at the end of the year, though, and that is a big deal, Jackie, that you're bringing up. But I think the bigger thing is doing Roth conversions.
Okay.
Because, we talked about required distributions earlier. For a lot of people I meet with, those IRA distributions, that's money they didn't need to live on. So now the government's telling you have to take money out. If we can get money out of those IRAs or traditional 401ks and into Roth IRAs, the government doesn't make you take money out of Roth IRAs because it grows tax-free. So it's a way to get money, doing a conversion. We take money out of the traditional, pay tax on it today at a known rate, and get it into the Roth so it grows tax-free for the rest of your life. The other benefit is if you have children, when they inherit a traditional IRA, let's say you have one child and there's $500,000 in your IRA, they have 10 years to get that money out. So they're going to have to take out at least $50,000 a year and pay tax on that at their rate.
Oh, boy.
So they're probably going to pay more in tax than you would. So, I met with my in-laws last night and did their tax review.
Great.
And we were able to move a little bit of money actually tax-free because they're mostly living on Social Security. So their standard deduction was enough to wipe out all of the income from the IRA distribution or conversion. So that helps them because they're growing that tax-free bucket, but it also helps their kids because they'll get that tax-free.
We love that part. 866-295-5146. Have your review with Stonebridge, 866-295-5146. What did your mother-in-law serve you when you arrived for this meeting?
They came into the office.
Oh, they did? All right.
I served them
You
some
served
chocolate
them.
and some coffee. Yeah.
Oh, very nice, very nice. But it does bear repeating on the Roth conversions, the importance of how valuable that money is going to be in retirement. And a couple of things that always occur to me that I wonder if we mentioned, Jeff, and that is if you do convert money from your IRA to a Roth, a couple of things come up. When can you use that money? And is that a situation where you have to be a certain age to Roth convert?
That's a good question. So the first question, there's a 5-year rule on Roth IRAs. So the money you have to have a Roth IRA for 5 years.
Okay.
As far as the age goes, there is no age limit when it comes to converting. With that being said, it is going to be taxable. So if you withhold taxes from that conversion, because you can do that, but if you're not 59 and a half, you're going to pay tax and penalties on the amount that goes to the IRS. So if a lot of times we'll meet with somebody and they have an IRA and then maybe they have, let's say you had $50,000 in your checking account, we would not want to withhold taxes on that conversion if you're not 59 and a half. We would want to pay that tax out of pocket. You'd write a check for it and then it's not an issue.
And then it's not an issue. But there's no reason to want to, or should I say, assume that you would want to be using this Roth money right away. This is something for later.
Yeah, that's going to be typically the last money that we use because, like I said, it grows tax-free. So let's use that money that the government is taxing you on. Let's use that up first, and then try to keep that tax-free pool as big as possible. And that's another reason why, when we do conversions, a lot of times, if we don't have to, we won't withhold taxes. If you have the money somewhere else, maybe it's a brokerage account or, like I said, in a money market, or you have some money in CDs, let's use that money because you're paying tax on that money. And we can't, if you're not working, you can't contribute to a Roth IRA. So if we withhold taxes, that's less money going into that tax-free bucket, and we can't add to it outside of doing conversion. So getting as much as we can into that bucket is really important. Definitely makes sense.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that about if you're not working.
Yeah, because you can only contribute for somebody under 50, it's $7,000 this year. If you're over 50, $8,000. But it's 100% of your wages up to that limit.
Roth conversions seem like such an interesting and great strategy, but there is the minimum age, 59 and a half, is probably the best time, right? 59 while you're still working, 60s, early 60s.
To do Roth conversions?
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, not necessarily. But everybody's tax situation is different.
Yes, all right.
And that's the most important thing is we have to look at your situation, because if you're drawing Social Security, the way taxes work when you're retired, it's very different than when you were working. The tax brackets are the same, but the way the dollars relate to each other or work with each other is very different. So if you take out $1,000 from your IRA, there's a chance you could be paying tax on $500 or $850 of your Social Security. So what you thought was a $1,000 IRA distribution, you're paying tax on potentially $1,850. And if you were in the 12% tax bracket, now your actual tax impact is more like 20% instead of 12%.
Okay.
So we have to do this in a way that's managed.
Sure.
And as smart as Tim thinks he is, we do rely on software. So we use software where we plug all of your information in, and then what we're looking at, there's a few things. We would need to stay away from, it's called IRMA. That's income related monthly adjustments for your Medicare. Because if you go over certain income limits, you're going to pay more for your Medicare. So we got to watch that. Number two, we want to look at the tax brackets. If you're in the 12% tax bracket, I don't want you to jump to the 22% tax bracket. So, don't hear this and think, that sounds great. I'm going to go convert my whole IRA and I'm going to pay tax on it today. Okay. The third thing is, again, how do those dollars work with each other? Or are there other deductions that you're going to lose by doing a conversion? Because there's some things that phase out based on your income. But there's a lot of different things you can do. I had another gal that was, she works part-time. She made, I think it was like $9,000 this year. So we did an $8,000 Roth IRA contribution. Oh. And by doing that, she's going to get a saver's tax credit of, I think it was $1,500 is what she was going to get. So that's $1,500 off her tax bill.
Nice.
So then we were able to convert a little bit more without any tax implications.
I love it. Roth convert, dance to the music. That's what we're talking about. All right, use this number, 866-295-5146, to reach out to Stonebridge Well Systems. Do it before the end of the year, 866-295-5146.
Is your retirement being eaten up by financial termites like hidden fees, inflation, and avoidable taxes? Call today for a complimentary financial review so we can help you root out these retirement killers.
Okay, as we were talking about the Roth conversions, I was just thinking about the legacy aspect of this because, trust me, follow me, it does tie into what we're going to talk about now, and that is longevity and legacy and so on and so forth. But think about it. If you have a big fat IRA and you're like, we don't need the money and we just keep taking these and they keep growing, the RMDs, and we're just going to leave it to our next, to our kids. Well, if you're in your 90s, your kids could also be retired in their 60s and 70s. And this could goof up, this is a reason to do something about it. This could goof up the taxes on their Medicare.
Yeah, it really could, because like we said, they've got to take money out, over a 10-year period. So
right. I think that most people just assume that people who are going to inherit the IRA are still working, but that's just not true.
Right. And I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that said, well, that 401k, I'm never going to touch that. I don't need it.
Right.
We live well within our means, which that is awesome. That's a really good thing.
Sure.
But again, like we talked about, you are going to touch that 401k or that IRA because the government's going to make you touch it. So, you have to look at that as kind of a partnership with the government where they own part of that and they're going to be able to tell you when you have to start taking it out. But the other thing to think about is, where do we think tax rates are going? I think they're probably going to go up, or historically, we're in a historically low tax environment right now. So there's definitely room for them to go up. When you look at national debt, there's a small chance that taxes could go up. We've got a little bit of debt. I don't know if you noticed.
I don't know what's going on with that. It's just going up and up so fast you can't count it.
Yeah.
That's some incredible stuff. Well, we might live till we're 100, 95 to 100 years old. And that longevity risk plays into that. So without a plan, with some planners, and that's Stonebridge Wealth Systems, 866-295-5146, you could run out of money if not planned well. And as you mentioned in the last segment, Jeff, that everyone's situation is different. It's hard to put a general blanket on all the things that we're talking about, but maybe this will spark interest of someone who is thinking, I don't have a plan. Maybe I don't have enough to have a planner. Do you ever encounter that? People think, well, I'm not a millionaire.
Yeah, we do. And everybody deserves a plan. Yeah, especially, let's say you haven't saved anything and you're going to be living on Social Security alone. You definitely need a plan because you better do Social Security right or you're going to be in trouble. So,
Right.
If you looked at, the Social Security Trust Fund, if it does run out of money, let's say they do nothing and it runs out of money and they cut benefits by 20% and you're living on Social Security alone, you better have done it right because you're stuck from there.
Right. Well, I wanted to move the discussion into dependable, repeatable income and building something, because so many don't have a pension unless you're in government, really. All the pensions are going by the wayside, even if you were a contractor for Boeing or Lockheed or so many other companies, those things are going away. So building a personal paycheck.
Yeah.
Personal, I don't want to pop the microphone.
Yeah, personal paycheck.
Personal paycheck it sounds like a great thing to do. So can you do that, build guaranteed income from the assets that you've been saving?
Yeah, and what we're talking about really is security. We're talking about insuring income. We spend a lot of money insuring our house. I'm sure all of our listeners know. For homeowners insurance, insuring your house is crazy. It's very expensive. We have health insurance, hopefully. So why would we not insure our income? Because that's what's going to pay those things, right? Something happens to your house, that's what's going to pay to fix your house. That's what's going to pay the deductible on your house when your house gets hailed. So that's what that guaranteed income does. Is it's ensuring your income that you can't outlive it. So you put money in your own personal pension, we'll call it. Put money in there, and it's going to spin off income either for your lifetime or for you and your spouse's lifetime. So as long as you live, it's mailbox money. It's coming every month. So whether you lived 105 or whatever, the nice thing about the ones that we have today, as opposed to those old pensions, is if you die early, there still could be a lump sum death benefit left over if you haven't already taken all your money out. So it's kind of having your cake and eating it too, where I can put my money in, I'm going to take income. By the way, you're getting a higher percentage from that money than you could if you were investing it in the market, because depending on your age, they may pay you 6 or 7% on what you put in, as opposed to if you're investing in the market, we're using the 4% rule or something like that, where you don't want to take out as much. But the other thing that guaranteed income does for you is the rest of your money, it allows you to invest with confidence, because when the market goes down, and I didn't say if, I said when, the market will go down again, you're not drawing money out of the stock market. So it's giving you security. You don't have to worry about, oh, I can't take money out of this because the market's down. You can leave it in there, you leave it invested. Market will go down and then it will come back up. So historically, it just does a lot of different things, but a lot of it's psychological.
Sure.
Just giving you that security that your income's coming in every month.
I like that idea. And is that what is referred to as a fixed position?
So
a fixed annuity?
It'd be what we would use is it's called an index annuity. The way that works is if I'll use the S&P 500 as an example, if the S&P 500 goes up, you go up to a certain cap. Maybe it's right now there's caps that are 11.25%. But we could be more conservative, and let's say the cap is 6%. So market goes up 10%, you get 6 if the cap is 6. The next year, if the market goes down 30%, you stay even.
Hey.
So you don't lose any money. Now, if you have one of those income annuities where you're drawing the income, it will go down based on the income that you're taking out. But that 30% loss in the S&P 500, you're not going to realize that in this indexed annuity.
Okay. And these things are just dependent on, it's just could be a tool in the toolbox for some.
Yep.
And you can talk to the gentlemen and ladies at Stonebridge Wealth Systems about whether this is a piece of the puzzle for you. 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. And I've read a couple of books, by these fellas, who print books about financial freedom and so on and so forth. And a lot of times they say, well, insuring some of your money is essential for success in the long term.
Yeah, and a lot of them talk about the way they word it is the power of zero.
Yes. Is that that guy's a CPA, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So I like that term because the power of zero, that example I just gave, if you don't lose 30% when the market goes down, so you don't have to dig out of that hole. But by the way, this is an annual point to point, meaning the value of the S&P 500, we look at it, if today was your anniversary date, we look at it today, we look at it again in 12 months. If it's higher, you go up. If it's lower, we're establishing a new starting point. So we're starting at a 30% decrease. We didn't lose any money. But now, if the market's down 30%, odds are, hopefully it goes back up from there. And you're essentially buying in at a 30% discount. So there's a lot of good things with that. But the power of zero is, again, we don't have to try to recover those losses because you won't realize the losses. Now, the other side of that is you have to be really careful. We just met with a family where they've got a few annuities and the caps are really low. So it's like 3.25%. So you're not keeping up with inflation with that annuity, so you have to be careful on that side of it too.
But can you work with help that family reimagine these assets, these annuities?
Yeah. Funny you should ask. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing for them is we're...
is it called refinancing the annuity?
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
All right.
So refinancing that annuity, because when they bought that annuity, interest rates were a lot lower. Interest rates are higher now, so we can move that to a new annuity. They're very conservative, which is totally fine. We can move that to a new annuity and get them, 8, 9, 10% cap instead of that 3.25%, while also keeping that security, that safety where they can't lose.
Are those new things? Well, gosh darn it. I better end here and then I'll ask you again.
Sure.
All right. Stonebridge, their number, 866-295-5146. Wherever you're hearing this radio broadcast, you can use that centralized number and then book into whichever office is convenient for you. Or the other Mr. Gove can come and see you. And Jeremy will jump in the car and meet you where you need to be seen. 866-295-5146. This is Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems. Be right back.
As Americans, we strive for better. From a better house to a better career to a better life for our children and grandchildren. Better has become the American way. When it comes to your retirement, what does better mean to you? Does it mean more income, a flexible lifestyle, better solutions? A better retirement begins with a financial plan. To get your complimentary written financial plan, call the number you see here. You only retire once. This is your opportunity to plan for better.
Stonebridge Wealth Systems here with Retirement Compass Radio Show and Jeff Gove, hanging out today in the Lincoln office, usually in the Kearney office. But hey, you guys move around to see each other, consult with one another as a group to help out your clients, et cetera, do trainings, ongoing information. I mean, gosh, the information changes a lot, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does. Yeah, we're doing a training today that's really valuable for, all of our staff, all of us together. Yeah, it's good.
Well, as long as there's some good catering involved, you get some runs.
I know. I'm kind of wondering. It's getting close to lunchtime. I'm wondering what they're ordering.
Mm-hmm. What are we having?
Scott doesn't forget me.
What are they? Wave your arms. All right. We were talking about, well, it's always about retirement and how to plan safely for your money to last you. And we've covered some longevity risk ideas and Roth conversions and so forth. I want to get into some of these others, including how can you bond ladder to create predictable income without locking you into something. Tell me about what that means, bond laddering.
Yeah, so bond laddering would be buying different maturity dates on bonds. You could do the same thing with CDs. You can do dividend paying stocks. There's a lot of different things that would pay dividends with different risk levels for sure. The thing that I want to talk about with these other fixed income assets is if you don't need income. Let's say I'm just a conservative investor, so I don't want to take a lot of risk in the stock market. So typically that's where your financial advisor is going to steer you, is towards a bond portfolio. So what happens, and I've seen this quite a bit this year, when we sit down to do a tax review on line, I think it's 2B on the 1040, we looked at one yesterday, $44,000 in taxable income that's being spun off of the portfolio. And that could be from CD income. For them, it was a little bit of CD income. It was some T-bills, some treasuries that are spinning off income, which some of those have some tax benefits. Maybe you save some money on the state side, but you're paying it on the federal side. So what that can do to you, though, is, especially if you don't need the income, it could make you pay more for your Medicare.
Oh,
so
golly.
You're not taking the income, but you're paying income tax on all of that income. It bumped for this couple, it bumped them into the next tax bracket. And then it also did cause them to pay, they're in the third tier on their income-related monthly adjustment for Medicare. So paying, and they may be listening, so yeah, I won't give too much detail, but
All right.
They could be overpaying by about $1,000 a month for their Medicare just because of what we call asset location.
Okay.
Owning assets in the right account types is really, really important. There are other ways, if you're a conservative investor, that we can invest conservatively, whether that's like investments that have what we call a buffer, where it gives you some downside protection, or something like that, where it's not spinning off income, it's just capital appreciation. So there's essentially two ways for you to make money. One is the share price increases. Another would be something paying a dividend, so it's spinning off income. If we buy something that we hope the share price increases, if you hold it over a year, it's a long-term capital gain, which has much better tax treatment than the income tax that you're paying on your CDs and things like that.
Okay, very good. So you said something to the effect of repositioning the assets. Now, I don't know about the average person listening to the radio show or watching us on YouTube, but that doesn't seem like it's the work for me. I have a different job. I want somebody else to help me with that.
Yeah, and that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do, and why we built the Retirement Compass, because these people are working with financial professionals. So they're working with people that know how to invest money. But what's not happening is they're not taking into account their tax return. So we believe it's all about what you keep. It doesn't matter what you make. I don't care what you make. It's about what you keep. Because if you made, say you made 8%, but you had to pay 4% of that or half of that to the government, so you only netted 4. Well, if I could make 5 safely and you don't pay tax on it, or it's a long-term capital gain, you're in a better position. So that's why, again, why we built the retirement compass the way we did, because you have to account for everything in order to do a good job for your clients. So
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't hold, if you're on an expedition, you can't hold the compass and then cover half of it with your hand and think you're going to arrive at the right destination.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you. I just
Good
thought of it.
job.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
of someone on the ship deck, crossing the Atlantic. I'm telling you, I'm all wound up in that PBS Ken Burns series, The American Revolution.
Will you talk about the harbor master?
Oh my gosh, the Harbor Master's so good.
Yeah.
You can use this number to reach Stonebridge, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. All right, so we talked about the bond laddering. Did we cover what you wanted to cover on the dividend-paying stocks?
Well, it kind of all goes together.
Okay.
The biggest one that I see, though, is CDs.
Okay.
Where we're putting money in, we're getting 4%.
Right.
But again, if you're in the 24% tax bracket, paying 24% federal, if you're in Nebraska, about 6% state. So
On the gains,
you
right.
lost 30% right out of the gate just because of the nature of the investment. There are other options. So again, look on your tax return. It's on line 2B where you're going to see that the dividends and interest. And if you can turn those into a long-term capital gain, the thing I like about that is it's a lower rate. So if you're in the 22% tax bracket, long-term capital gains are 15%.
Okay.
If you're in the 12%, you don't pay long-term capital gains at all. So that's great. The other thing I like about it is it's a choice. We choose to pay long-term capital gains because you don't pay that unless you sell it. So if I have company XYZ in your portfolio and you hold it over a year and you don't need the money, we just keep holding it. You hold it till the day you die, your kids inherit that and they get a step up in cost basis. So nobody ever has to pay the taxes.
Oh, hey.
That's even better.
That's beautiful.
But say you get 5 years down the road and you need some money. Well, okay, we sell that down. But now you're going to pay 15% on that instead of the 22 or 24% that you would have. So, again, you may not ever have to pay the tax, but if you do, it'd be a decision that you would make that, I need income for whatever. I want to go buy something. And then you can liquidate it and go do that.
And I like what you said about the CPA may not be talking to the broker, talking to the investment guy, and putting all these, pieces of the puzzle or the points on the compass together. And that's why we have you.
Yeah. Well, and it's really important that we work with your CPA because we don't prepare taxes.
Right.
But, the couple I met with yesterday, they thought it was really important because they've talked about taxes, obviously with their CPA, but they're just preparing the tax return. They've got a lot of tax returns to do, most likely. Yes. So they're just trying to spend those out. You bring your stuff into them, they review it, they put it together. Sure, they're doing a great job with that. But a lot of times they don't know what you have for investments. They're just getting your interest statements or your 1099s. So working with them and saying, okay, here, we're going to reallocate this and we're going to turn this from income into growth. And it could still be conservative growth, but it'd be long-term capital gains down the road, if anything. And by the way, we also want to do Roth conversions for this client. Do you have any ideas for our farming clients? Really important because they have the flexibility of pushing income, prepaying expenses, pushing income into another year, which we don't want to do a lot of because that will catch up with you. But it could be used as an opportunity to do some Roth conversions, move money out of IRAs into Roth IRAs, and pay no tax on it potentially if we have a good tax plan.
It all starts with a phone call, easy enough to do, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. Stonebridge, all right, I have a question. I don't know if we have enough time for you to answer this, but when we're talking about cash value and bucketing and so forth, is life insurance a supplemental income source?
Very rarely. So for some,
right.
it does make sense. Just know
For some.
Yeah, if you're setting that up, I like life insurance more for an estate plan play than income. But
Right.
for some, if you're maxing out Roth IRAs, 401k, you're doing everything that you can. That could be the next thing, is using like a cash value life insurance plan to generate tax-free income for you down the road. But it would be after those other things are met. But I do love it for an estate plan play, because if you're a conservative investor and you've got, let's talk about that CD money that you have sitting in there, and that, okay, I'm just going to leave this to my kids anyway. There's one policy right now where you can do a lump sum in, one time. You still have access to all of your cash, but you get a multiple for your death benefit. So if something happens to you, you're getting your return for your kids right now, right? You didn't have to wait for it to grow. Let's say the death benefit was, you put in $500 and the death benefit's $1 million. I'm just throwing random numbers here, so this is not an illustration, but you don't have to wait for your $500,000 to grow to be $1 million, or hope that it grows to be $1 million. You get that day one, tax-free, income tax-free, to your beneficiaries. By the way, if in the future you needed that 500, it's growing for you inside the policy, and you can take that back out
To use it if need be.
Yep.
Oh, so that's very interesting. 866-295-5146. I like the flexibility. I like the word can. You can use it. 866-295-5146.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Couple scenarios for the team here. It's oh my golly. It's the Retirement Compass radio show with Stonebridge Wealth Systems and Jeff Gove, Jackie Selby on this side of things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that first period of retirement where people get all excited and maybe spend too much money. Maybe 2 years into retirement, you're realizing that you're spending way too much, more than you planned, on hobbies and spoiling the grandkids and travel. So the budget is starting to creak. What do you do? How do you help somebody scale back, if need be?
Who wants to scale back?
Nobody does.
Yeah. So where we would start is, can we adjust the plan?
Okay.
Does the plan support what you're doing?
All right.
And we're going to be honest with you. But that's where I want to start. I mean, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that,
No.
I got to go talk to Jeff and he's going to tell me I got to stop spending money.
Right.
Beans and rice, people. That's what we're going to.
Oh, golly.
No, we're going to look at, okay, we know when you retire, it's not going to be exactly right, as far as your budget, because you don't know exactly what you're going to do. You're probably, I hope you go and do things. I hope you go and spend the money that you worked hard for within reason. So that's where we start and that's an easy thing. I increase your budget and your plan and see, does it work? We test it.
Okay.
And if it doesn't, is there any tweaks that I can make to make it work? And if that doesn't, then we're going to have a conversation about, okay, if you keep spending what you are, here's what it looks like. Right. You're going to run out of money when you're, 85 or 75, whatever it is. and then we make adjustments from there. So then you might have to look at things that, you prioritize. I can't talk. Prioritize what you're spending money on, and figure out, what are the things that I want to cut first. But I don't ever want to start with, time to scale back. You told me 5,000, you're spending 6,000.
Right. No.
That's not how this works.
Right. If you had a plan to begin with, I mean, most people know pre-retirement whether they want to buy a boat or not, or they're going to take up a new equipment sport, because that's part of your fun planning. Oh, I'm going to take up an equipment sport. I'm going to go skiing 3 times a year in Colorado, whatever it is, and we need skis for the whole family or whatever, grandkids. That would be expense that you want to plan in advance, not okay, here we are and now I've done it.
But you're right. But there are things that are going to come up that you didn't realize. Like, for example, I've got clients that they sold their house and bought a camper, and they live in their camper and they love it. It made me really nervous for them, but they love it. But what they realized is the camper that they're in, it's more of a weekend camper.
Oh.
It's not a live-in camper.
I see.
So we needed to upgrade, and they were pretty concerned because it was another $60,000 for the camper that they needed. But yeah, I plugged that into their plan, and it works. There is no issue. So
fun.
Yeah. So we know when we set up the plan that there's going to be things that change, whether it's on your end or on the government's end, whatever it might be. So we know there's going to be things that change.
I love that sense of adventure for those people. You tell them I said so.
I will.
Hey, our radio lady loves us about it. I want to live the van life at some point.
I know. Got to get your van.
I need a van. 866-295-5146. 866-295-5146. This is Retirement Compass Radio Show. Did I tell you that someone I know, 65-year-old guy, bought a used van? It's built on the Dodge Ram or Ram, right? It's a Ram. But then the upgrades were done by Winnebago. So he calls it his Winnebago, but it's really a van. And the thing is unbelievable, the things it can do. And that to me seems like a great life. Just put the gas in the tank and drive it.
Yeah. We'll do a mobile radio show.
Oh, I'd love to put the equipment. It's easy enough to do. You get a dish. Well, anyway, all right. Let's go on to another circumstance. 866-295-5146. Call Stonebridge. What if somebody has loaned the adult kids a pile of money? And, it was a down payment for a house and so on and so forth. The first loan hasn't been repaid and retirement income is tight. What can retirees do to set financial boundaries, if you will? Is this answer the same? It starts with a plan.
Yeah. And I've told some of my clients that deal with this kind of an issue that they can use me as the scapegoat. I'll be the bad guy. Happy to do that. Where Jeff told me I can't do it. You have to take care of yourself. I mean, if you have adult children, and I'm not there yet, so I can't speak too much to it, but I hope I let my kids, fail a little bit and within reason.
Sure.
I'm already walking it back, but
I know you are.
But it's something that we can put into your plan and show you that yes, you could give them $50,000 or no. If you do, I mean, how important is it to you? Do you want to go back to work? Because that's what's going to happen if you do that. So, like I said, use me as the excuse. I can be the bad guy.
Right. I always feel like the adult children should feel that. Hey, do you want mom and dad to go back to work? Do you want dad to have the blue vest retirement plan?
Yeah. But that isn't always the case,
I know.
And it could be for a lot of reasons. I mean,
all right.
Depending on what they're going through, where
of course
your vision's you get tunnel vision and it's like all about me because I'm in a really bad spot.
That's true. Yeah.
But, I hope, we probably all hope that our kids, want the best for us too, But yeah, you have to make sure you take care of yourself, and, putting your kids in the best position isn't always bailing them out. Sometimes it's they got to struggle a bit. Struggling is good for us.
You got to move back into the basement, folks. No.
No.
Is that what you told your kids? You're not coming back here?
Yeah, you're not coming back here.
866-295-5146, 866-295-5146 to call Stonebridge. After college, and I was working for a while, and I needed to come home, my mom said, you can move into the master. So I did. I rented the master bedroom because my dad had passed away, and it had access to the swimming pool. I'm from Arizona, so it had a door that accessed and a big full bathroom and the whole thing, and I didn't have to bug her very much at all.
But you rented, you said.
I did.
So that's different.
I know it helped her a lot.
Yeah.
She loved it. Well, those were the days, I'm telling you. All right, let's move on here. Downsizing. What if somebody downsizes to a 55-plus community and they start to regret it? They don't like the homeowners' fees or the people that they've moved in next to. They miss their old neighbors. How do you give somebody advice like that? Can they change?
Yeah. I mean, life's too short. If you don't like it, change it. You know, and
Get a van.
yeah, get a van, hit the road. And sometimes, you know, with some of those decisions come some expenses alongside that where you pay the penalty, you know, if you bought a place and maybe you can't sell it for what you bought it for. But again, life is short. Don't stay somewhere where you're not happy. Yeah, I've been talking to my wife about those 55-plus communities, though. That's pretty awesome. Going to the villages in Florida or something like that.
You know, you have not. And plus,
Cruising
you're not
around on golf carts.
Oh,
and-
my golly. You're not
Sounds
even
great.
close to that. You're still in your 40s.
I know. Planning ahead. We got to have a plan.
Way ahead.
Jackie. Yeah.
They are building some new nifty communities I noticed in West Phoenix that are going to be those all-inclusive places and golf carts and way west of Sun City. That sounds fun to me if they could only change the weather. All right. I think we have time for another one, Mr. Gove. Mid-60s, retired, suddenly feel like they've lost their sense of purpose. I know I've talked to Mr. Kulhanig about this a lot, but the money's okay, but the motivation is gone. So how do you coach somebody in advance? Again, is the answer part of the plan?
Yeah. Find something that you are passionate about. Make sure you're, you know, I think being retired, it would be really easy to, you know, you probably started out setting the alarm for, 8 o'clock. I'm going to go for coffee. And then it goes to 8:30. It's like, I'm going to sleep in a little bit. I'm going to go to 9. And it just starts snowballing on you. And the next thing you know, you're watching the Golf Channel all day on the couch. We don't want to do that. You know, find things that you enjoy, like whether it's volunteering.
Sure.
That I think volunteering is really good for your soul. You know, helping people that need help is really, really good for you. Getting involved with your church, volunteering there. There's so many different things that you could be a part of, and it doesn't matter how big or small your community is. There's something for you that you can add to your community. You just have to put yourself out there. And I'm sure if you get to that point where you've already lost the sense of purpose, that you're going to have to push yourself to get out of your comfort zone and get into where you're developing the purpose for your life again. But
Sure. Again, you could call on a professional for that. But it's really a good idea. I know that you talk to people in advance, you know, while they're planning for their retirement financially. I know that you guys ask them, so what are you going to do when all this is
there's so many things. I don't know how much time we have, but
Go
one
ahead.
of my uncles, he's retired farmer and single guy living in Beaver City, Nebraska, small town. And he built a relationship with it was a pastor up by one of the Indian reservations.
Nice.
And so long story short, he's developed a relationship now with furniture stores in Kearney. So, and I'll shout them out: Bruce Furniture, Nelson's Furniture, I think Slumberland. Those three, if they deliver furniture to someone and they had let's say a used mattress, they're putting this in a semi-trailer to take up to the Indian reservation.
Oh, great.
So they're getting all of this furniture that, you know, I mean, when you see how some people live up there, it's probably the poorest in the United States.
Yeah.
So, and they're very, very grateful. There's another company that's donated crates of food,
Oh, that's great.
onions, potatoes, squash, all kinds of things. So,
And we have so much of it,
Yeah.
surplus.
yeah. So
That's great.
like I said, I think that's really good for your soul. He's helping people, taking firewood, blankets.
Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that's fun, and that's innovative, and it uses your creative juices. All right, I'm going to give your number again, 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. Get your plan together with Stonebridge Wealth Systems.
Did you ever think your retirement would be shared with our government? It's true. Your traditional 401k, IRA, pension, or similar retirement accounts are like a partnership with the IRS. Simply put, they want their tax dollars, and you have them. With our latest tax calculator, you can plug in your own numbers while sitting at home. To find out what your future tax liability could be, scan the QR code or go to stonebridgetaxbill.com.
All right, we need to talk to our ag clients about their taxes for the end of the year. So, welcome back to Retirement Compass Radio Show with Stonebridge and Jeff Gove. I know you have a lot of ag clients, don't you?
We do. Yeah.
And so how do you talk to them about their taxes? As if they're hearing this and they don't know that they need to talk to you, but here's the reminder.
Well, and what's nice is a lot of them are already talking about taxes with their CPA,
Sure.
Doing tax planning, figuring out, do I prepay expenses before the end of the year? Do I take some income? Do I push grain to the next few years? What do we do? So the main thing I wanted to talk about on this segment was just to be careful with some of that, because sometimes paying tax is okay, because if you end up pushing income into the next year, and then let's say you're retiring in 2 years, and you're going to be selling all your equipment. So maybe that's $1 million. You're going to rent your ground out. So that's kind of a non-issue. But if we, in that last year, if you don't have any expenses because you took them the previous year, and now you have all of this grain to sell, and we also have equipment to sell, it can create a really, really big mess in a hurry. So, if you're, 5 years out, 6 years out from retirement, now is the time, because there are some things that you can do where you can write off a lot of income in 1 year and keep your money. So it's not prepaying things. It's putting your money in a plan where you get to deduct it, and you'll get access to that money in the future when you do retire. But it's a way to clean up some of that tax mess along the road.
It feels good to clean things up. Everybody knows that. You got a clean house, you have a great day. To clean up some of this money and move it to where you can use it later in life, that feels like a good idea, Jeff. Tell me more.
Well, and sometimes we get kind of tunnel vision when we think about this year. How do I pay
That's
as
right.
little as I can this year? Well, I want to look at how do we pay as little as we can over this period, right? Especially if you're transitioning out of farming, because that's when your taxes get really expensive, because the year you rent your ground, your itemized deductions are essentially going to go away, because you're not, if you do cash rent, you don't have any of the inputs. You don't have the expenses. The farmer that's renting from you has those expenses. So again, we just have to have a plan for that. Make sure we're not just looking at 1 year. We're looking at, the remaining years to make sure that we have a good plan. It's going to put you in a position to pay as little as possible.
That sounds really good. And so should folks call and speak to you about it? It's not too late to get an appointment, right?
No,
Before
it's
the
not.
End of the year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now is the time.
All right.
And we, like I said, we work with your CPA to develop a plan, that, okay, maybe we need to put some money here to alleviate some of the taxes. Or maybe if you're going to make some donations, if you donate money to charity, maybe we make a bigger donation to, it's called a donor advised fund this year. We're not necessarily giving it all to charity, but we're going to use that the year that we need the deduction, right? So if we're going to give $100,000 over the next 10 years to charity, we put $100,000 away we get the tax benefits today when we need it, and then we give it to charity over the next however long you want. So there's so many different things to do, but it's important right now to get the ball rolling,
All right.
to meet with your CPA, to meet with us, so we can get the plan, get you on the right path.
Sure. And if we do make that appointment and come in to see you, then can you be on the call with the CPA, or
Yep.
have you done that before?
Yeah, we would do either we meet in person with your CPA or we
Okay.
do a Zoom meeting with the CPA. Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know. Very good to know, because then you can exchange the necessary info. 866-295-5146, 866-295-5146. Retirement Compass Radio Show.